Welcome back, everyone. This is your news and stimulus update for today, Tuesday, March 30th. On this episode, I want to talk about the World Health Organization and their most recent report that the COVID-19 virus spread from animals to humans and not from a lab. And this study was a joint venture with guess who? Chinese scientists. And I want to talk about why the World Health Organization has shown themselves to not be as reputable as many are trying to paint them out to be. And then after we talk about that, I want to give you the latest information on the stimulus checks and payments, specifically to those on Social Security, VA, SSI, SSDI. But let's start out with this World Health Organization report. So here's the article from The Hill, just released today. You can see the title there. Report from the World Health Organization team finds virus likely jumped from animals, not from a lab leak. And it's interesting as you scroll down and read the report here, it finds that the coronavirus most likely jumped from animals to humans and calls the lab theory extremely unlikely. The report, written jointly with Chinese scientists, does not reach a definite conclusion on the origin, but called a likely, very likely pathway that the virus started in bats or other animals and jumped to other animals before going to humans. Now, in just a moment, I want to show you how untrustworthy the World Health Organization has been this year when it's come to coronavirus COVID-19. But don't you find it just a little interesting that this new report comes out as a joint venture with Chinese scientists? After almost a year of this worldwide pandemic, if you even say that the Chinese government has been trying to cover this thing up, you are pinned off as a conspiracy theorist, even though that's a factual statement. The World Health Organization did an extremely poor job early on in sounding the alarms to the rest of the world that there was a major issue going on in China. We know that Taiwan had issued warnings to the World Health Organization in December of 2019 about strange occurrences going on in China. This is a Time article that says Taiwan said it tried to warn the world about coronavirus. Now, this is true. They did send off an email. Interestingly enough, though, the Time tries to slant this as Taiwan didn't do enough to warn the world. The article reads, when they heard about patients falling sick with a mysterious pneumonia in the Chinese city of Wuhan on December 31st, Taiwan's health officials fired off an email to the World Health Organization asking for more information. I love how the Time lists this as a 4-sentence inquiry, trying to actually diminish what they were saying. Essentially, the Taiwan government officials were trying to tell the World Health Organization that something fishy is going on in China, and the Chinese government and scientists are trying to cover it up. It's strange that one country has to try to warn the World Health Organization about another country that's actually trying to cover it up. And when they told this to the World Health Organization, look at the quote. No clear evidence of human-to-human transmission is what the World Health Organization came up with. So remember what the World Health Organization did early on here. They dismissed the reports from the Taiwanese governments and authorities that something strange and off was going on in China. They basically covered for China in saying there's no evidence of human-to-human transmission going on here. But these are now the authorities that we should be listening to who are telling us that this transmission started from animals and not a lab. I'm not saying it started from lab. I'm just saying I don't trust the World Health Organization. They were also the organization and the authority that told us that we should not shut down international travel. This article is from Reuters, and you can see the date there, February 3rd, 2020. WHO chief says widespread travel bans not needed to beat the Chinese virus. You can see written here, World Health Organization chief Tedros said on Monday that there was no need for measures that unnecessarily interfere with international travel and trade in trying to halt the spread of coronavirus that has killed 361 people in China. This was another article written by MIT Technology Review, written right around the same exact time. The World Health Organization calls China coronavirus an international emergency, but opposes travel bans. Scrolling down the article, looking at the no travel bans, Tedros, as he has called it, said the WHO does not recommend limiting either trade or travel to China at this time. In fact, we oppose it, he said, right there in quotation marks. The World Health Organization was the authority that was telling us that we should not shut down travel. They literally killed thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people by their inaction and their false, unscientific reporting. They had no data or basis to make that determination. In fact, if anything, they should have issued caution and said it should be up to the countries at hand right now because we don't really know. But that's not what they said. What they told us back then was, we oppose this. You should not shut down international travel. The World Health Organization was also the group that praised China early on. This was an article written by Stat, which is a health and medical news site, and you can see here the title: WHO praises China's response to the coronavirus, will reconvene expert committee to assess global threat. Scrolling down the article, you can see here in quotes, this is from the World Health Organization leader Tedros again, and he's talking about China, and he says China's actions actually help prevent the spread of coronavirus to other countries. He said he was very impressed and encouraged by the president's detailed knowledge of the outbreak. China beat their citizens. China locked their people up. China locked people into their homes, prevented them from going anywhere and doing anything. And the World Health Organization leader praised China. This is an article from CNN. You can see it was written Tuesday, March 31st, 2020. WHO stands by recommendation to not wear masks if you are not sick or not caring for someone who is sick. You should find the next quote that I'm going to show you right here in this article stunning. Let's scroll down. Here we go. You ready? Here is the quote from the World Health Organization. There is no specific evidence to suggest that wearing of masks by the mass population has any potential benefit. In fact, there's some evidence to suggest the opposite in the misuse of wearing a mask properly or fitting it properly. Dr. Mike Ryan, Executive Director of WHO Health Emergency Program, said at the media briefing in Geneva, Switzerland on Monday. This is the quote-unquote expert organization that told us that there is no evidence that wearing a mask is going to have any benefit to you. Now, some people are going to say, well, they didn't know back then. They had no idea. We weren't living in the Stone Age a year ago. It's a virus, just like the flu and common colds. It's not like it necessarily spreads differently or more dramatically. And these are doctors, so they already know how viruses spread. And they told us, don't wear masks. There is no evidence. There is no reality to the potential benefits of wearing masks. This is the same organization that we're supposed to believe when they have a joint venture with Chinese scientists that this came from animals and not from a lab. We should just trust them. So wait a second. Have they been right all along? They were wrong when they did not believe Taiwan, when Taiwan sounded the alarm and told them something was going on in China. They believed the Chinese government. They also were wrong when they said that there was no evidence of human-to-human transmission. They were also wrong when they said that they opposed international travel bans. Matter of fact, quote unquote, we oppose it. Do not shut down international travel. They were wrong when they praised the totalitarian hand of the Chinese government and what they did to their own citizens, beating them, locking them up and locking them in their own homes. And they were wrong when they told us that we should not wear masks. And now they're telling us to wear masks, if not agreeing with the CDC saying wearing double masks, although there is actually no scientific evidence that double masks actually works. This organization has shown themselves to be untrustworthy, and I've given you the evidence from the last year to show you how dead wrong they have been. Now let's move on to the latest update for stimulus money. I know a lot of you are still waiting on it. And what I can tell you is that it is trickling out to some individuals. I am getting comments from people who are telling me a little at a time that they are seeing it come into their accounts, but the vast majority of people have still not gotten it. So it's still over 30 million people who haven't gotten it. The Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA, it's still being processed by the IRS, at least the large batch that's supposed to go out. And remember, I've told you to watch the Wednesdays. So what you want to keep in mind is that this upcoming Friday and Saturday, if we start to see individuals getting some money in their accounts from their bank, it could mean that the IRS is going to make a mass batch deposit next week on Wednesday. If we don't see that trickling into people's accounts this weekend, then we're going to assume, and I know we can get into trouble when we assume things, we're going to assume that the IRS is not going to put the batch in this week, but they're going to put it in next week, which would be April 14th. So we're going to watch this weekend. This is the date where you should start looking possibly that your account is going to start to show that the money is coming in. You should also continue to check the Get My Payment tool. I have heard that people have seen that some updates have occurred with that. So if you haven't checked it in a while, go ahead and go in there. If you don't get anything beneficial from checking into it, don't worry about it. The tool is all kinds of flawed. So we will keep you up to date, but there is no major news yet. It's not like the IRS has come out in the last few days and given us a date. They haven't. The IRS hasn't come out and given us like updated information. They just aren't. Neither is Social Security or VA. Nobody's really giving us information. So all we know is that they haven't sent out the batch yet. So if you haven't gotten your money, it's just because it hasn't happened. Also, keep your eyes out on your mail because they are mailing out checks and they're mailing out cards. You don't want to accidentally throw those things out. But most people are going to get the direct deposit. As always, thank you for coming along with me. We will catch you next time.